Hey there, you guys. Welcome back. It's early morning here. You'll see this in the afternoon sometime, but I'm sitting here having some tea. This is a dirty chai, so it's a chai tea with a little espresso and some English toffee foam. So I don't know. So anyway, thought it'd be a good idea to finally do a little bit of a grow room what's going on video. And yeah, it's a little late in the game because things aren't necessarily looking so great. We're now in the depths of winter. Oh, is it the depths of winter? We're in January now, so a couple more months until spring. So things will be on a steady decline for the ones that came inside from outside that are just kind of doing a dormancy thing inside. Is that making any sense? I'm not sure. I'm talking. It's early, so. Yeah, thought I'd bring you along. No judgments here. Some things are looking not so bad. Some things are looking really bad. But you get what you get. So, hope you enjoy. Please be nice in the comments. Anyway, let's get to it. So we'll try to make this relatively quick. I don't want to make this into a half-hour video. So we're not going to touch on every single plant. But yeah, let's just do a scroll around of the grow room. So this side of the grow room seems to be the side that gets neglected. This shelf here doesn't get watered terribly often, so things are struggling, or they're doing really, really well. I don't know, because sometimes I feel like I overwater. So anyway, and back there, that one there on the top shelf, it's really, really bright, and I find that things dry out really fast, and I can't keep up with it. So I need to maybe move the light farther off. Anyway, we'll get there and we'll talk about it. And so this is the newest thing here as I trip over things. I used to have all these plants on the floor, and it was really, really hard to water. It was really hard to see what was going on. So I made some benches, and I'm able to put totes for storage. I'm still in the process of fixing this place up. And making it a little bit more clean looking. But we are in the basement. There is no flooring. It's just a concrete floor. So when I had these things on the floor, they were getting a little bit too cool. I had them on little mats that would lift them up off the ground. But concrete floor in general is a cooler place to be. So anyway, let's start over here. Oh yeah, most of these things are things that came in from outside. And they're Alocasias, there's palm trees, as you can see. Let's come back to this section in a second. My little workbench, where I have my tea that I should be carrying around with me. This here is my anthurium. This is a bird's nest anthurium. I'm not sure what type it is, but I think it's going to get big. Last summer I put it outside, and it got broken in half by the wind. It seems like 2 or 3 weeks after I put it outside, we got this horrible windstorm, and I had some beautiful leaves. As you can remember probably from last year's grow room tours in the wintertime, last winter, so 2020, you people were asking about it, and all of those leaves broke off. So I'm getting some yellowing or some browning right now because I let this thing dry out completely. I'm experimenting with my watering. Because I used to keep things way too wet, and it was rotting things out. Now I'm on the other spectrum, and many things I'm keeping too dry. So this one, I put my finger in, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there is no water in there at all. Because I was wondering where this was coming from. And that was why. So I gave it a good thorough watering, and I won't have to water it again for a little while. So this is my fun little bench. That this gets most of my attention. As you can see, there is what looks like death here. This is an Amorphophallus. I'm not sure what type of Amorphophallus this is. When I bought the corm, it was supposed to be a Pianifolius, and it is not that Pianifolius or Pianifolia. I'm not sure. But it is not that. It flowered, and it had a slender white flower, or inflorescence, and yeah, so I don't know what this is, and it's grown, and it did beautifully. It got to be about 4 feet tall, and now it's just dying back now. So I don't want to cut it back. I'm letting it nourish the corm down below. So I'm going to be I give it a little tug every now and again, and when it finally breaks off, it will come off at the soil level. So I'm just going to leave it do its thing. And as you can see, these are little projects that I have, or little plants that maybe require a little bit more attention or a little bit more humidity. And I have the humidifier right here, and it always seems to be going. This Florida Ghost is looking beautiful. Philodendron Florida Ghost. The imbricata, Hoya imbricata, is it's stalled out for now, but it gave me 2 leaves in the fall. It hasn't really done anything all winter. I'm keeping the moss pole evenly moist. It's almost dry now. I'll put some more water in the reservoir maybe after this video. And what is this? This is the ZZ Zenzi. It's such a pretty plant. I started rotting that one out. I'm usually really good with ZZ plants, but this one started rotting when I got it, and maybe it was overwatered in the shop, and maybe I watered it after it got home. But usually I let them dry out pretty good. Anyway, what's down in there? There's something growing down in here, and I don't know what it is. It kind of looks like a string of turtles, but I don't know. We'll find out. It doesn't look like a ZZ, so it doesn't look like a weed either. So we'll see. This Philodendron Passasanum has seen better days. I've been really trying to work with it. I'm trying to get in a better watering schedule with it. It was doing really well in a 4-inch pot. But it quickly outgrew that because it was crawling along the side of it, and I transplanted it, and I think I went into too chunky of a mix. Every time I transplant this plant, it collapses. It loses everything, and yeah, it goes into a big shock. And lately, I've been letting it dry out too much. I've been trying to water it like I do the other philodendrons, and it doesn't like that. So this one requires more water than I think it does. So I need to get on a better watering schedule with it. It's not dead. It's not going to die. I'm just I'm figuring it out. We're having some temper tantrums, both me and it. And then this beautiful dragon scale. Oh, it's so pretty. And then the what is this? The black velvet. Oh, they're so pretty together. And then back in here, we have some orchids. This is the Phalaenopsis schilleriana. I'm not sure. It's got the beautiful pink flower. This one has been neglected and neglected and neglected. Sometimes it doesn't get watered for months, or what seems like months, and the leaves get really floppy. But it comes back, and I think, as I pick it up by its leaf, I think there's a flower spike starting. I'm so bad at this plant. Oh, the poor thing. So many of you are probably looking at the video saying, oh my god, Bill, stop. Just stop. I apologize. And then we got the Hoya Cordicei. This one I didn't think was growing for the longest time, but now it's starting to really grow quickly. It must love the cooler temperatures. When it was outside, it kind of stalled, and then it came inside, and it didn't do much, and now it seems to be growing really well. I let it dry out completely, and then I water it thoroughly. And then we got the Xanthosoma lindenii. So pretty, so pretty. And in the back here, I have, this is Ficus altissima. They don't grow very well for me. Ficus in general is really hard for me, and I'd love some suggestions on ficus if you grow them. I'm trying not to move them, because moving them gets them into a shock state, and then they kind of stall out for a while. This particular one down here, this is just Taneki, I believe, and my leaves are really pink, but they're not a nice pink. As you can see, it looks kind of awful, and it comes out this way. In the beginning, they weren't like that, and then as it's been growing, it's just been doing this, and I hate it, but it's finally starting to put out growth, so I'm hoping it will grow out of it. So let me know in the comments below what I should do with these ficus. Upstairs I have the Audrey, and it's doing really nice. Here's another altissima, and yeah, hopefully those lights aren't bothering you too badly. And then up here on this shelf, I have, it's Peperomia. I'm not sure what this one is. Let me know in the comment section below. It might need more light. or it might just be a trailer. I'm not sure. I'm thinking about cutting these off and letting it grow back up from the top. Hopefully, the lights on the camera are flashing. I don't know why this grow light does that. And then we've got the Dischidia ovata, or the watermelon Dischidia. Oh, I love this plant. And then behind it, we have a little, I'm going to move away from this section because it's really irritating. So I'm not sure what happened. We had some lost time, so sorry for the jump in the video. So that Alocasia is Alocasia saran. And then I've got this Monstera adansonii. This one doesn't seem to grow very well for me, or maybe it's doing just fine. I'm not sure. It grows long vines, but only a couple of leaves per vine. I get maybe 2 or 3 nice leaves, and then they start to yellow really, really quickly. Perhaps it is needing more fertilization. I'm not sure. I'm trying to keep it more on the dry side, and then watering it thoroughly when it gets dry. I used to keep it evenly moist, and it did not like that. So I'm trying the drier route, and as you can see, I cut it right back. We've got all kinds of new growth starting here. So if you have any care suggestions for the Adansonii, let me know. I really want to learn how to grow this one to the best of its ability. It's getting a pretty bright light, but it is under that light that has that weird pulse to it. So I don't know whether that's something. But anyway, that is the Adansonii. And then under this light, we have another one of the Alocasia saran, and it is doing the same thing. I need to repot these into maybe a 4-inch pot. These tiny pots, I think these are 2-inch pots. They dry out so quickly that like every other day I need to water them. This one, I think I watered it yesterday, and it's dry already. So then we've got some rickrack cactus cuttings. We've got the Hoya calistophylla. Looking not so bad. I like it when it goes outside. It grows much better outside. On to the next. Here is, I love this one. I have 2 separate plants of this one. This one's doing the best. I was doing a little experiment. I kept one in the nursery pot, and then that it came in, and I potted one up into a slightly bigger pot and also a clay pot. Let me move it down. This is the Alocasia Pink Princess? No, Pink Dragon. I don't know what I'm talking about. So this one's doing pretty good in the pot, in the clay pot. And then beside it here we have, oh, the leaf just fell off. This is Begonia maculata. It's so funny to me because this one gets the same care as one that I have in an aquarium, just on the other side, which we'll see in a second. But this one here was the parent plant, and I took cuttings from this one, and the cutting is doing so much better. And I planted the cutting one out in the garden in the spring, and it just did beautifully. So I think I need to give this one a good deep drink. This one is very, very dry. So I'll take this down, I'll put it in the sink, and I'll give it a good drench. So hopefully this one comes back, but it's not looking so great. We've got Sansevieria. I forget what this one's called, like Batwing or something, as I move it again with Dragonwing. This one was way too dry. I'm starting to give it some water again. I try not to water my Sansevierias too much over winter, but this one really folded up. So it's in need of a slow recoup. So I'm going to be watering this maybe every 2 weeks for a little while, thoroughly soaking the soil. I need to really be careful because it's gone desperately dry. And then here's the Geogenanthus that you saw in my recent haul video. I've got all kinds of Alocasia here. This one is Wenti. It's not doing so well, but the Alocasias, if they start to yellow, I lean into it, and I'm keeping it more on the dry side. Normally I would let them go almost completely dry, but this one I'm letting go a little bit more dry because the leaves are yellowing more, and hopefully it makes it through till spring. We've got a sinuata, I think it's sinuata, mirror face. This one has such a beautiful leaf. It's such a small leaf, but same thing there. I'm letting it dry out a little bit more than I normally would. And then I've got this Scalprum right here in the mist. So it's loving the mist. I don't have to water them very often. I think I water them maybe once every 2 weeks. And then this is one that doesn't really like the winter. In the house, this is Lauterbacchiana, the Alocasia Lauterbacchiana. What is it called? Like a purple sword or something. It's such a beautiful lance-shaped leaf. And yeah, the common one, copper spoon, Kalanchoe or Kalanchoe copper spoon. Love that one. It's just indestructible. Oh, and then down below here, I've got what is this one? This one's elephant ear Kalanchoe, Kalanchoe baronensis, I believe. And yeah, let's go over here. I'm trying to make this as quick as I can, but here I am stopping on everything. I've got my a few of the Hoyas here. They are being watched like a hawk. I have them right here so that I have to pass by them in the morning when I fill the humidifier. I've had a really severe outbreak of mealybugs, so I'm really watching them. I'm spraying them when I have the sprayer out, and really trying to pay attention to them. I need to watch my water, but I'm really spraying the crap out of them. And then another Alocasia. This is the Alocasia zebrina. The soil is sucked away from the edge of the pot, but down farther it's a little bit moist, so I don't want to water it too much. It's such a gamble when you have a taller pot like this. Outside, that pot is perfect for it. It loves it. It loves life. But when it comes inside, it stays too wet at the bottom. We've got the spineless agave. I should give this a drink. As you can see, the leaves are starting to curl on themselves, so I should give this a little bit of a drink. I try not to water those too much in the wintertime because I don't want to rot them out. And then we've got the mangave. Oh, love the mangave. You just can't go wrong with these guys. If you haven't purchased a mangave for your collection, they are amazing. There's so many different types. This one is Lavender Lady, and look at how beautiful that is. I don't water this one very often. I do water it a little bit more often than I do with this one because I really like this one. This one I like too, but I don't know. There's something about this color that just is amazing. Back here in the back, I don't know. I think I maybe overwatered and then underwatered. This is my cinnamon tree, so I pruned it back and I'm starting to get new growth, and it's doing just fine. And we'll see how it goes. When I pruned it back, it smelled amazing. It smelled like cinnamon. It was so good. And then we've got this Brassia orchid that's in bloom. My sinuses hate it. I love it. I can't remember what the type of Brassia this is. I've got it in past videos as I'm trying to look at other things that I'm moving out of frame. But this guy here has mealybugs, and I've been spraying, and I take it over to the sink. I don't know. Let's move over here. Again, no judgment. It's a mess over here. I've got this wash tub with the hose. I've got all kinds of hoses over here. And yeah, I give it a good spray down. I rinse off every leaf. But right now when it's in bloom, it's a really hard thing to rinse off. So I'm really getting a hold of it. I don't see any mealybugs on it right now, but I do see some mealies on the flower spike, and that's where they tend to go. And then over here, we have the palm trees. I'm trying some palm trees, which you saw them out on the deck in the summertime. This one is the bottle palm, and it's just starting. I got a baby one because I didn't want to spend the money. But it's starting to bottle out at the bottom, just a little bit. And then behind it, we have the spindle palm. I don't know whether you're able to see it very well, but they're very similar. They're in the same family. But this one has a triangular growth, and this one has the bulbous growth. But they're so cool. Actually, I think I like the fronds better on the spindle palm. They're just so beautiful and pretty well perfect. And then the bottle has more of a robust appearance. The only problem is, I believe that the bottle palm grows a little bit slower, and these leaves were like this when I first got it. I believe this one might have been a new leaf, and that one is a new leaf. It lost a couple of leaves, but the newer leaves are looking a little bit better. But it seems like a long game, so you really need to take care of the leaves that you have. And if they start to brown, chances are they're going to stay brown for a long time, which is not a great thing. Before we move further down the table, this deserves an honorable mention. It's the Alocasia frydek. It's one of my favorite Alocasias at the moment, and it has been for the last 2 years, I think. It is just amazing. Look at, oh my gosh. It's so beautiful. It's got the velvety leaves. It's got the white veins. It's just amazing. Oh my goodness. This guy has been dealing with spider mites on and off since about October, so this one started early. And yeah, I've been combating this. I take it to the sink and I spray every single leaf down. And at first I wasn't using the insecticidal soap. I was just washing the leaves. But now I've started into the arsenal of the insecticidal soap. And it seems to be giving it more time between outbreaks. So I'm really catching it. It's been about a week, maybe a week and a half since I sprayed it last, and I don't see any webbing starting here. This is where I normally see the webbing start, is right in the sinus of the leaf, and I'm very happy to say here's some old webbing. I don't know whether it's going to show up on camera, but if you think you might have spider mites, another thing, if you don't see webbing, you might see this this white flecking in the leaves. Here's another one with some white flecking. Here's another one. A really good example of the white flecking. There's something wrong there. And then this yellowing, if you have this yellowing on your leaf, chances are if you're growing it in the house or in a drier environment, it's probably humidity related. So once it goes down below 50% humidity in here, I start to get these yellowing marks on the leaves. So you really need to be careful with humidity when you're growing this particular plant. It won't necessarily die, it just won't look beautiful. So over on this shelf, I have a bunch of things. I'm practicing trying things. Here's another. This is one of the Florida Ghosts that we took from cutting a while ago. And here is another one. This one I'm trying to grow in pawn. And then this one is just growing mostly in bark. So the one growing in bark is doing better. In the beginning, the pawn was winning the race. But it's certainly the bark that is now running the long game and winning. And we have this Peperomia Hope that is doing really, really well. Peperomia Hope seems to like a lot more water than other peperomias because this one dries out really, really quickly, and I find that it grows more when you give it more water. Don't let it sit in water, but let it dry out, but it dries out faster than other peperomias. I'm trying to grow some Euphorbia obesa from seed, and I'm also trying to grow some Euphorbia stellata from seed as well. I've got some babies in here. We'll see those in another video. And another thing that I tried growing was the Boea, the climbing onion, and I got one to sprout, and then it died back down. But I see that the little bulb is still green, so I'm hoping that it's still alive. And then I've got a couple of this is the Mayan mask Alocasia that I just grew from a piece that broke off. And a few different Hoyas that are trying to grow. These are things that I grew from cuttings. So we'll see what happens with those. And then here's some little propagations I'm trying to work out. Some are doing well, some are not doing well. Hopefully they'll look better by spring. But yeah, this is Sansevieria francisii. We've got some of the Peperomia Red Edge. Is that what it's called? I don't know. Anyway, and then this, I love this Tradescantia. I think it's a Calicia elegans, I believe. And then these, they need water, but then they don't need water. I think I water them and then they collapse. So I don't know what to do. Me and Peperomia, I don't know. You feel them now. See, they're rotting. So you got to learn from these experiences. And in these bags are some little propagations. I've got some, in this particular one, I have some little baby, what are they? The Begonia Amphioxus. They're growing like little happy campers. So yeah, let's move on because we're starting to run out of time. And in this grow tent, because it's open, I've got some dormant plants over here. It's not death, they're dormant. We've got the Amorphophallus conjax here. We've got the Crinum lilies here, and the plumerias are all leafless over here. So monitoring the plumerias for severe wrinkling on the stems. When I see that, I give a little bit of water, just a little bit of water. So in here is the grow tent for the Hoyas. I took most of the Hoyas out because, like I said, there was an outbreak of mealybugs. I sprayed in here. And yeah, hopefully things get back to right soon. I was hanging the Hoyas from the chain from the top of the grow tent, and they seem to be doing okay. I went through a phase where I wasn't watering them. I was keeping them too dry, and then I pulled them out, and I'm like, oh my goodness, these aren't looking so good. They were really papery and just horrible. So I'm trying to nurse them back to health, and I need to get on maybe a 2-week watering schedule with these guys, where I don't water them too frequently, let them dry out a little bit, but I don't want to water them too much. And the ones on the floor, that was another problem. They were staying moist because I'd water these up here with the hose, and then the water would drip down to the bottom, and they would be sitting in a little tiny puddle of water, and they didn't like that. I thought that the humidity would help them, but absolutely not. So I'll have to get little cups or something for them to sit on top of, so they're not resting in water. On to something else. So here is the other side of the table. So this is mostly the Alocasia side of the table. I'm trying to keep my Alocasias grouped as much as I can because they are spider mite magnets, and if I can keep them together, I can just spray the whole bloody thing with insecticidal soap. But this section hasn't really gotten the same amount of outbreak as the other section with the frydek, which is great. I'm not complaining. I don't want there to be a huge outbreak like I have in other years. And then I've got this Philodendron goldii, or the Thematophyllum sprucianum, whatever you want to call it. I love this plant. It is such a slow grower. Look at that beautiful leaf. I got spider webs all over the place here, so maybe you'll see them, maybe you won't. And I've got, like I said, all the Alocasias here. I've got a pelargonium. This is the mixed pot of pelargoniums that was out on the front step. I'm keeping this really dry, and it's losing leaves, but that's what happens when you keep them dry. Try to keep them dormant. If they don't get enough light, if you give them too much water, they will rot. So if you limit their water, they just kind of stand still. As you can see, they're still trying to flower, which is amazing. I need to come in and just clean this up. I usually just give it a shake, and then I take the broom and sweep everything up, but I haven't done that in quite a while, as you can probably tell. Up here, we have the bougainvillea, or bougainvillea, whatever you want to say. It is looking not so bad. Usually I keep this one completely dry, and it loses all of its leaves. It defoliates 100%, but I guess I must have sprayed it with the hose, and it's starting to come back to life, which isn't bad. It's got light, so it's fine. But yeah, I really need to monitor this one for spider mites. It loves to get spider mites in the wintertime. There was some flowers on it earlier in the season when I brought it in, but there's not any more. This guy here is the one, if you've watched my video, I'm trying to turn this one into a standard. So right now I'm just letting it do its thing. I pruned it in the spring, and then I just let it grow out. This spring again, I will prune it back hard and get it to grow into its little bush again. And then here is the shell ginger that you saw in my most recent plant haul. And yeah, it's doing well. Its growths are happy. And yeah. Here is my little begonia aquarium. This is some stuff that I've got growing on the window ledge. I've got a geranium that I'm trying to take cuttings from, but I think I'm keeping it too... Oh, it's too wet. That won't need water for a while. If it rots out, it's fine. It was one that I started from seed, and it has never flowered. I've had it for years, and it gets to be about 4 feet tall, and it's a pretty plant, but it never does anything. So if it dies, it dies. I'm not too worried. I forget what it's called, magnificum or something. No, cuculatum, Pelargonium cuculatum. And then we've got the jade plant, and then these guys didn't get very much water for a while. He's really dry. This is some of his leaves. I forget what this one is. Magnificum, and then I've got the lemon scented one here. All of them, those ones need a lot of water over the winter time. They dry out really quick. Oh, it smells like lemon now. And then we've got the aquarium with the begonias in there, and the begonias love this aquarium. This is the Pegasus, or what, a griffin, I believe. And it's just doing so well. I need to take some cuttings soon. I'll take this really big bit and I'll grow it. so that I have multiple plants for the garden. And then let's look inside here. Sorry for the jerky camera action. The only jerky camera action here is from the jerk. So here is my little maculata that I grew from a cutting, and look at how beautiful that's growing compared to the other plant. It's amazing. It's amazing, the difference. Like, they basically have the same care. So this one, some people say that when you grow them from a cutting or when you propagate them yourself, they become hardier plants to your environment. So that might be all this is. It might just be hardier to my zone, my little growing environment. So yeah, this maculata is doing beautifully. And then we've got some other ones in here. That maculata is actually really dry. This one here needs a drink. It's bone dry. So after this video, I'm going to give it a drink. I can't remember what type this one is, but the leaves get to be a good size, and they just have this weird purpley pinky shimmer to the silver. It's just beautiful. And then I think this one is the Lambo, the pink Lambo. It's not going to show up very well, but all these I dug out from the garden, and I just have them sitting in this aquarium. These guys are really dry. And then this one here, I think this one's called Fireworks. Ooh, it's really dry. I'll definitely be watering these right after this video. I might do the submersion method. I might just sit them in the sink and spray them over and over again for a few times. And then over here, this is the area that gets way too much light. So yeah, I need to water this more often than I do. Some Sansevierias are even struggling, which is crazy. So I'm not going to go over everything here. This is the Abuca or Busa. Holy crap, that is really dry. So this is the spiral plant. I forget what that's called. Abusa spiralis. I'm not sure. But one thing that I do have problems growing in the wintertime is Echevera or Echevera. They really rot out over winter. I'm trying not to water this at all. Oh, this one, see, I think this one got a little bit of water, and I realized, and then I moved it off, and then I moved it back. But I try not to give it any water until it starts to wrinkle. And look at it, it's starting to produce little offsets, which is fantastic. As long as it survives, I'm not watering them. This is one that started to rot out, and then I took it off the grow shelf. It's light adjacent, so this side started to rot out, as you can see, and it's starting to put out new growth, and it's going to survive. Another one of my Echeveras is this one here, and I don't know how, but I must have watered it at some point, and it started to die back, and then I stopped, and it's doing fine. So once they go outside, you can water them freely, but when they're inside over winter, they don't want anything. So you got to be very mindful of that. And then we've got this Phalaenopsis. What is this one? Hieroglyphica. It's just started a new flower spike. This thing has never flowered for me, but it starts to put out spikes, and then they burn off. So we'll see. I'll try. Until then, it's just gonna grow and be something. I don't know whether it's happy, whether it's sad. It's just there. It's alive. And then over here we have another type of Kalanchoe. This is like the Baronensis. Well, it is a Baronensis, but this is the oak leaf version. And that is so beautiful. I love it. I love it. And then we got some types of Stapelia. And then this Stapelia needs a severe drink. As you can see, they're really sucked up. This one, I believe, is Stapelia scitula. I don't know what this one is. But yeah, I think this is a type of Euphorbia. And then this is really, really sad. Maxillaria. Oh, I forget the name of this Maxillaria. Yellow flowers. Anyway. And then this one is a Phalaenopsis pallens. It is a sequential bloomer, and it really enjoys to make offsets. So if you're looking for a Phalaenopsis that produces all kinds of babies, some cakeys, this one is probably the one for you. All right, and the bottom shelf here. This is the carnivorous plant shelf for the most part, and they are struggling through the winter. They get really dry down here, which is really sad. I should pay more attention to them, but I actually like to not pay attention to them, and then it's like a little adventure in the springtime. but I need to come in here and give them a good drink again. Yeah, they're still alive. They're still kicking. Some are doing better than others, and that is what we see. And then here is some echeveras or some succulents. Again, trying to really not pay attention to them, because when I look at them, I want to water them. So it's best to just put them out of sight, out of mind, and hopefully in the spring I can clean them up and get them back to rights. This is just a random shelf with things that don't get watered very often, if ever at all. I've got a Achimines erecta. It's got such a pretty little flower, but it's not like the regular Achimines that had the big beautiful flower, so it gets forgotten. I keep meaning to put it outside in a basket, but I've never done it, and I need to. Yeah, they go dormant, so maybe they just start going dormant in the spring. And then I've got some types of Haworthia. There used to be some African violets back there that have since dried up. This here, I forget the name of this Stapelia. It had the big bell-shaped flower. I've got this little weird propagation thing that it used to have. It does have some micans in it, and it has some string of hearts, and then just grew randomly the blue star fern. And then I've got some aloes back there, and my lemon that I started from seed, and a plumeria. The plumeria is semi-dormant. And the last shelf, oh my god, I don't know how long it's been, but you guys deserve a break and to stop listening to me chat. So here we've got Sansevieria. I believe this one is Samurai. I've had this one for many years, and it's doing well. It needs a drink. As you can see, the leaves are a little bit wrinkly, but they're doing okay. I don't like to water them too much, like I said, in the wintertime. This guy here, because of the pot shape, it's really hard to water. So this poor Stapelia gigantea has not been watered very well for a number of years. I keep saying that I'm going to take this planter apart and repot it, but because I love this planter with the Stapelia. The Haworthia has grown like crazy in here, as you can see. The thing needs to get transplanted. But I have been watering it a little bit better recently, and you might be able to see back there, but there's a bud starting on the Stapelia gigantea. So I don't know if that bud's going to amount to anything, but I've been trying to make a habit of watering it every couple of weeks anyway, and really flood it. And then it floods the tray, which I use boot trays, and then these guys will also get a drink because I water this. But the water just pours over the edge of the pot, and when I water it, it doesn't really get in. So I need to really stay mindful about that watering, because look at this plant. Ugh. And then down below, this is mostly my Gesneriad or Gesneriad shelf. They look terrible because I neglect them so bad, which is awful. But they go through dormancy periods, so there's times when they don't want to be watered. So this one had flowered not long ago, and it's starting to go into a dormancy. This one here is for sure going dormancy. Before it did, I took some cuttings from the tips. Maybe I'll do a video on propagations that I've been doing, and the little propagations are flowering. So this one here, I should just clean out the pot. It looks worse than it is because I've left the dead stuff on the top. I've got the Alsobia dianthifolia. I can't remember. This one here, I really need to pay attention to a little bit more. It dries out too much, and then it gets a drink and comes back to life. And it's such a beautiful plant. I think I need to pull it out so it's not so far in there in the shelf. Like I'm tall, and all I see when I walk by this is this angle here. So you don't even see the Alsobia. And then I've got these little guys. I love these. The foliage isn't very pretty, but what is it? It's the Primulina tabacum, and the foliage smell when you rub the leaves a little bit smells like tea. It's so nice, and there's like a little stickiness to it, which is kind of off-putting. But the smell is gorgeous, and the flowers are such a beautiful purple. And then we've got some seeds of something that we're not going to talk about yet. Hopefully they're going to start to grow. But we got some seeds trying to start, and I tried to separate my my Pinguicula morinensis, and yeah, And then back in the back, that is a type of Syningia that I think it's dead, but the corm is still firm, but the center point has rotted out. So I'm wondering if it's going to start to grow some little babies off the bottom. And then we've got a couple of neglected philodendrons, but they seem to grow much better when they're neglected than when I actually pay attention to them. This one here used to grow upstairs, and it was awful. And so I brought it downstairs with these other ones that seem to grow just fine. This one over here, I forget, I think that one's not black cardinal, red Congo or something. It's a Congo. And it did awful when I was looking after it. But then I stuck it under this grow shelf, and I water it when it looks like it would just fall over because of the pot is so dry. And then it's growing beautifully. So this is what I'm experimenting with, out of sight, out of mind, and then when I see it and it looks awful, I'll give it a drink. And it seems to be working for some of them. This one here as well. But anyway, any growing tips would be helpful. If you have some, remember I'm in Canada. If you see anything for insecticidal soaps and you're trying to tell me systemics, I can't get them here. So, but just growing in general. This is the grow room, and there's some stuff that needs some attention. There's some stuff that needs less attention, and this is my silver sword. I don't know that I showed you, but it's got its little slipper happening, and par for the course for philodendrons. Yay! Oh! I forgot to show you this aquarium over here. We passed by it, but didn't look at it. It's got a light hanging up against it. All right. So last but not least. We've got the Rhaphidophora cryptantha. I took cuttings of it, and these are the cuttings that are growing along the moss pole. We've got the Syngonium wendlandii. We've got a tiny baby Melanochrysum there. We've got this is a little Soderoi. It keeps dying back, and now I'm trying to give it higher humidity, so it's starting to grow again. We got the Bilietiae on all kinds of cords. Bilietiae coming back from the death. It was basically dead. Now it's starting to thrive. The root system in there is pretty cool. We've got the Gigas right here. I'm going to give it a moss pole, hopefully in the springtime. And then I've got, I've got to show you here. Sorry for the angles. This is a philodendron subhastatum, and then so is this one over here, and they're growing beautifully. Oh my gosh. So these ones here I'm keeping on the dry side and just really giving them humidity. When the soil becomes like basically fully dry and the leaves start to get softer, I give them a good soak, but most of the time it's just the humidifier keeping things in check. So I refill that every day. So as always, I ran a little long. I'm sorry. So if there's anything that you want me to go into more detail about, if you want to see something that I didn't really talk about, let me know the timestamp of where it is, and maybe we can revisit that. And yeah, anyway, until next time, you guys, happy growing!